Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Teaching Elven Maidens How to Use an Anti-Tank Gun, written by FarmWitch4275. The class of 20 young ladies waited patiently as they waited for their instructor to finish what he was doing. He was under a top of some kind, apparently working with some odd machine. The rustling of bolts and clanking of metal made all of the students' pointy elven ears perk up and twitch in curiosity. They all stayed still, calmly waiting for an instruction. "All right, then," the voice from under the top finally spoke. "We are ready." Ready for what exactly?" One of the older students, a tall elf girl with brown hair, asked. "Oh, quite simple, my dear. Let me tell you a little story. I put in for 2 weeks of leave so I could recover my brain, see? 2 weeks of fishing, beer, and soft warm kisses of the morning sun. But no, just as I pack my bags, I'm told to babysit you lot," he replied with a scowl. Well... However, here's the thing. I was not supplied with a lesson plan, and I was told to keep you occupied and safe, and get you to at least try to learn something. The school district, however, didn't exactly tell me what you had to learn, just that you had to learn something, he replied, a strange smile creeping across his face. This made the girls suddenly very, very nervous. One girl, a short blonde elf holding a large spellbook, raised a hand. Learn what?" "The concept, my dear maidens, of malicious compliance," he said with glee, and yanked the top off the machine. The items hidden were 2 strangely identical machines, one looking newer and more modern. This, dear ladies, is the German Flakvierling 32 88mm gun, more commonly known as the Flak 36. Today, I'm going to teach you how to use it. He laughed with glee and loaded a shell. "Come, quickly now, put these headsets on and do not take them off unless I tell you. Noise protectors. It'll help, especially with your elf ears. Put them on, hurry now," he said in earnest, likewise putting on a set himself. Not willing to question the giant goddamn gun, each girl quickly grabbed a set of headphones off the table and waited for instruction. Despite the fact the sounds of the world around them dissipated, they could hear his voice with perfect clarity. Right then, here we go. First, a history lesson. The Flak 36 is an anti-tank gun, an anti-aircraft static machine manufactured and deployed by Axis forces, specifically Nazi Germany during the Second World War. This fearsome beast is the one anti-tank gun that was the most feared, but not the most widely used static artillery platform in the war. Now, I know you all have been hopefully studying for your upcoming exams, so who can tell me how long was the machine in active service? He asked, looking at the crowd. One girl, a bright Altmerian redhead, raised a hand. If I remember correctly, it was Finland. They used them as coastal guns until the year 2000? Correct! Congrats, Ereka, my dear. You get the honor of firing the first shell. Obviously, you're going to use the custom-made modern one because the other one is an ancient relic of history, and you need a very special license to use it. So come hither. The Dakar awaits. He bellowed happily and readied the gun to fire. Okay. She was a bit timid at first and approached the machine, sitting in a strange chair. All right, I'll teach you how to aim later. I just pointed at cliff sides there for now. You pull this lever, and it'll fire. Don't be scared, and don't worry. I have plenty of ammunition, he said with a smirk. Okay, like this. I think this is it, right? I'm supposed to aim through the circle thing, right? She asked, gesturing at the mounted crosshair. Yes, but that's for later. To fire it, you do this. He grabbed the joystick and showed her how it worked. This is obviously not part of the original design. I've made a few modifications for safety reasons and to make it easier for use in demonstrations. Now, to fire it, you lift, press, and pull. Lift the cover of the safety button, press the safety button, and then pull the trigger. To make it safe again, you just need to let go and pull the cover back down. Always make sure the cover is on before you leave. That's a rule. Got it? He said, demonstrating how to use it by miming.
Yes, sir. Okay, right. Lift the cover, press the button, and then...
Her sentence was cut off by an almighty roar as the gun fired. The recoil sent the barrel back and the firing mechanism automatically forcing the hatch open, ejecting the spent casing behind it. The roar overcame the entire valley as a crack of thunder from Thor's own hammer echoed through the air. The shell flew through the air, a stark yellow streak of fire and steel towards the side of the cliff a mile away. The elves could see with their overpowered scouting eyes how the shell blasted straight into the cliffside, digging in at least a foot deep before an explosion sent chunks of the cliff to the ground. A mixture of emotions ran through the crowd as they stood silent. Erica sat there, shaking slightly, as she recovered from the shockwave of the recoil she felt as it fired. She slowly craned her head to look at the smoldering remains of the expanding shell casing. Fantastic! Well, now, you know what it does. The question is, do you know how it does it? He asked, looking at Erica's terrified face.
No, I don't want to,
was her meek reply. Ha! A lie if I ever heard one. Come, let me show you. He gently cradles Erica's terrified form and helps her off the seat back onto her feet. He returned to a table and removed a tarp covering a display of sorts. On it were diagrams, cutaways, and dioramas of shells, the guns, and various historical articles. A perfect display of what you might see in a museum. This is how it all works. A modern bullet consists of a tube and a shell casing, with the bullet affixed at the front end, the percussion cap or primer at the base, and a propellant powder contained in the tube. Upon being struck by the gun's firing pin, the percussion cap detonates and ignites the propellant. The resulting rapid expansion of gases in the gun's closed firing chamber propels the bullet forward at high velocity down the bore. The cartridge case is left in the chamber and must be ejected by mechanical means, he said as he demonstrated. The girls looked at him confused for a bit, and after a while a black-haired girl raised a hand.
Sir, is this how all bullets work? What about the big guns and those battleships?
A very good question. They work in a similar manner to standard shells, but not quite. There's a twist. Instead of a shell casing, a shell containing explosives is loaded into a barrel. Then something like this, only much bigger, he showed them with a cloth satchel of gunpowder, is loaded in after. 1, 2, or 3 of these bags are loaded afterwards, and then aimed, then fired. Depending on how many bags are loaded, it increases the range. Maybe one of these days I can get in touch with a Navy buddy of mine at the museum, and I can show you how that works, he replied, using various props to demonstrate.
Okay.
Good! Now, to teach you how to aim the gun. There's a very specific way to do it, but to know who is first, answer this question. Who knows the muzzle velocity of an 88? He asked. A few moments of silence followed. One girl raised a hand and then spoke.
My calculations say, I think, 3,000 feet per second.
Close, 3,280 per second. Come here, the smart one. You win! Now, since you are so good with math, this should be easy, he said and helped her into the seat.
Okay, sir, so I aim through that?
She asked. Well, yes, but no, sort of. You first have to calculate distance. These are not plasma cannons or laser turrets you saw on your way here. No. These are ballistic shells, so you have to compensate for gravity. This is a standard German targeting reticle. See those triangles? This is all done by measuring a unit called Stritch. The big one in the middle is 4 Stritch. The one on the sides are 2 Stritch, and the spaces in between is 1 Stritch, he said, showing the girls a diagram.
What's a Stritch?
It is a unit that measures angles. You calculate the distance by taking a width of your target divided by the Stritch times 1,000 giving you meters. Now, see that over there? You are aiming at those, he said, and he pointed to a series of boards painted with bullseyes. Those targets are 3 meters, 2 meters, and 1 meter across, all placed at varying ranges. Now go for it. Remember, safety first. He replied in kind and stayed back to let them figure it out. The girls all crowded around the device and chatted frantically about each other and what to do. As much as the machine terrified them, they were eager to use it and figure the thing out. He, on the other hand, loaded a shell into the museum version and used his wheels to aim.
I think I got it. Do I shoot it now?
The smart girl asked. First, you all back off and stand to the side. Never go in front of the barrel or directly behind the hatch. Well, it's live. Even if the machine is modified to be safer, there is no excuse for mistakes," he said. The girls all scattered and went to a safe spot a few feet back. "And yes, now that's safe, you can fire. 1 shell each only. I have plenty of ammo, but I would like everyone to at least get 1 shot in," he said.
Okay, so, lift, press, and pull.
The gun fired for a second time, the same mind-shattering viciousness that blasted across the valley from before. The shell streaked through the air and hit the target, not quite center, but enough to send a blast of shrapnel into the air, followed by a billow of pink smoke into the air. "Good hit! Very good hit," he said, and clapped. The entire class likewise clapped in response. "My turn." He pulled the lever on the controls, and the ancient cannon loosed its deadly payload. The explosive shell blasted through the air, hitting the target far in the distance, resulting in a short puff of pink smoke erupting in the distance. The girls looked at him, shocked. They all glanced at each other in surprise. One girl suddenly had a smirk.
"Okay then, old man. Let's make this interesting.
20 shots each. Most misses pays for lunch." "Oh, excellent," he yelled out with glee, then stopped suddenly. Well, I guess the lesson's over." The school's principal arrived, a tall, distinguished elven man with heavy robes. He surveyed the scene and carefully looked at all the ladies. He carefully checked the equipment and checked to see if anyone had burnt hands. Satisfied with his inspection, he approached the teacher. He then went to the table, looking at all the items displayed. He then picked up a headset, put it on, and stood between the 2 guns. "Okay then, 10 shots each. Nobody can afford giving anyone a free lunch. So how about this? You win, you can pass the class. You lose, and you do a pop quiz," he said with a smirk. The girls hastily loaded the next shot, and the next girl to fire took her seat. A chorus of cannon fires echoed through the valley, followed by either 1 or 2 puffs of pink smoke. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.